Hey everyone, this is Pete, but live, and I'm joined today by my good friend Chris Kasky, my erstwhile podcasting friend. So say hello, Chris, and we can make sure once and for all this is working.
Hello, Chris, and we can make sure once and for all this is working.
Fantastic. Your little avatar is bobbing up and down. The levels are going up and down. So yeah, I'd say that's working. Cool.
Awesome.
Anyway, yeah, I know we had a brief chat before we started, but how the bloody hell are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. Gaming and, immersing myself in hobbies as we must in these trying times.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, I was hoping what we would do tonight would sort of prove a nice distraction from everything that's going on in the world at the moment. So I've got Toaplan Arcade 3 and 4 for Evercade here, ready to play, which I know has got some stuff that you're familiar with and some stuff you're not familiar with as well. So anything in particular you would like to start with? I know you mentioned you hadn't seen Dogoon before.
Yeah, I've not played Dogoon ever. I've not played Fix 8 ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, either of those are pretty fresh and new to me.
All right.
Batsu Gun and Grindstorm are, classic favorites of mine.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's kick off with a bit of Dogoon then. So this is one of their later ones. I think this is the last one they did before Batsugan, if I remember rightly.
Oh, okay, sure.
So it's like super pretty, and it's got some proto bullet hell stuff in it. But it's like their description of it is that they they concentrated too much on the graphics and not enough on the gameplay. But
I'll probably love it.
Exactly.
Because just looking at that screenshot, like segment there, like the color palette is like off the chain.
Yeah, it is pretty beautiful. So let's go, and it's got big robots in it, so you'll definitely like it.
That is a requisite for me to be excited for anything anymore.
Dogoon. It's taking the Don Pachi approach of naming the game after a sound effect, I think. Right, gotta remember to play this now. So, from what I understand of this one, the unique selling point of this one, there's two really. There's no power-ups, so you can switch between weapons, but there's no like power level to them. You're always at full power. And the second thing is these little modules that you can collect. So this one we've got here gives you some little laser outriders. And you can press what would normally be the bomb button to, in this case, go super fast.
Oh, cool.
Or there's one that's just a conventional bomb as well.
This is really giving me compile vibes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, this very much looks like... I mean, I don't know what it feels like because I'm not playing it, but this very much looks like Toaplan almost doing their best compile impression. Like, this has a Star Soldier feel to it. Just like the larger-than-life, like, big fat laser beams and the way the popcorn enemies are coming in those formations.
Yeah.
And the really nice parallax backgrounds.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'm not as familiar with compile stuff as I'd like to be, but the little stuff I have played, that certainly sounds accurate. Yeah, and you got some nicely ridiculous weapons. Got this fun green laser cutting up the screen. There's a Raiden style toothpaste laser in this as well.
Oh man,
which everyone loves.
How do you feel about that new Raiden game that's coming out soon? Have you seen that?
I've seen that it exists, but I haven't really looked up anything about it as yet. Is that the one that's? Is that the one where it's gone a bit twin stick, or am I thinking? Yeah. Yeah, could be interesting.
I mean, I think obviously with something like that, like the purists are gonna be grouchy, but like,
yeah,
if they can make a twin stick shooter that has a few of like the hallmarks and like the general quality we've come to accept from a Raiden game, because like, I probably these days Raiden games are basically like the big flagship shmups, probably the highest production quality shmups. So like, I'm interested to see what that's like, because I think twin stick shooters, besides on the indie sphere, obviously have have kind of gone silent.
Yeah.
But I remember back in like the PS3, early PS4 games when they were like the it thing to make on like the indie scene.
Yeah.
I have very fond memories of Super Stardust from.
Oh
from
yeah,
Housemarque.
definitely.
So yeah, I'll be interested to see. I'm not sure if Moss is developing that one or not. I'll look that up quick. But they've been trustworthy stewards of their own name for a while now. So
Yeah.
I trust their judgment.
Oh dear. This game is also pretty hard. As you would probably expect from a Toaplan game.
I mean, I guess, yeah, because they're the Truckstick guys.
Yeah.
I've always thought Gun was like way too easy for a Toaplan game on the other side of it. Like, I don't know if they were trying to figure some stuff out, but it's like I've always been able to kind of breeze through Gun.
Yeah, I think that's quite a common opinion, especially Gun Special. Because Special version, they actually set the first loop of that to effectively easy difficulty.
Oh, okay. That makes.
But the original Gun is just one loop at what is considered to be normal difficulty. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't sort of seen. Oh, god damn it! I haven't sort of seen a definitive word from them if they deliberately wanted it to be easy or not. But I think certainly with Special, they wanted a real emphasis on score attack and loops and that sort of thing. So they started it off to be gentler and then get much more challenging with each passing loop. So like it sort of introduces things like suicide bullets and stuff like you getting cave shoot 'em ups and things, and so there's
Really...
Oh, come on. Oh, I've done it. Oh, just a quick hello to Octo and ow! Death by greeting. A quick hello to Octo in the chat.
Plastic big spider tank. You gotta have a fighter tank. So I looked up some info on Raiden Nova. A, it's out already.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Which is a pleasant surprise. B, yes, it is developed by Moss, so it's the guys who've had Raiden for a while now.
Yeah.
And C, holy shit, does this footage look a lot like the old top-down levels from Thunder Force 2.
Oh, cool.
Which is delightful, because I know we are both very, very fond of the weird top-down levels from Thunder Force 2.
Yeah. Oh, that's encouraging.
Yeah, like the vibes are very there. Are there any like super complex scoring mechanics in this one? Because like, or is this a little too early? Kind of nonsense.
This is sort of just before they got into that. So like, Gun Special is kind of where the scoring mechanics got crazy, because you've got these pigs that appear.
Okay.
And you get points for when you're flying near the pigs. So you have to sort of hover near the pigs for as long as possible before you collect them. And that will net you lots of points. But yeah, this is just fairly straightforward. Just shoot stuff. I think it does have some stuff similar to Slap Fight, where if you're using the right weapon at the right time, you can reveal secrets.
Okay.
But aside from that, it's fairly conventional, I think.
Yeah. See, I am not. It needs to be said, not good at shooters at all.
No, me neither. As I'm aptly demonstrating.
I'm very terrible at them. I just really appreciate them because I love the graphics. I love how they're just like basically like, you know, you and I have talked for many years about mechanics and kind of the difference between gameplay heavy games or mechanics focused games and games that are more focused on narrative versus games that reach a balance of the two, like RPGs do. But like, to me, shmups are just like the distillation of gameplay.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the very cooked down molasses essence of pure arcade gameplay. So like, even though I can't play them to save my life, I'm so in love with the way they feel. The fact that they're just like non-stop challenge.
I'm the same. I mean, I absolutely love them. There's a couple that I've got reasonably good at. Like, I got good at Eschatos at one point, although I haven't played that for a little while, so I doubt I'd still be as good at that now. But, a lot of them, they take work to get good at. But at least you can always credit feed to just enjoy all the stuff in them.
Yeah, I mean, fun is fun. I think that's something we've always thought about over the years. Is to kind of spit in the eye of people who want to tell us that there's a right way and a wrong way to play games. Like, if you're having fun, you're doing the thing.
Oh dear me.
Ooh, I like that red. Is that like the Vulcan kind of powered up?
It's just a laser. It like goes at these right angles. So it's like in contrast with the purple one, which is more like Raiden's toothpaste one, and then you got the green one, which fires straight forward continuously like this. That one it goes at right angles and homes in on stuff.
Yeah, it's like so pure compile-esque. This is really fascinating. Oh, look at that fella.
And we've got some cave-style laser cancelling as well.
That's nice. I gotta get my, I gotta dust off my laser cancelling skills. I just got in the mail this week, actually, from Strictly Limited, the release they did of Darius Burst, CSX, whatever, additional letters and numbers. But it's great because it's the one that includes the Sega and Taito DLC packs.
Oh, brilliant!
Like on the cart. I don't think the Rising/Aiding pack was something that became available on the Switch versions. I gotta look that up. But it's just nice to have both of those, because if you got the Sega pack, you can be Opa.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be Opa? You can live the full experience of his tears, of his sadness.
We've got some Dogyun hype in the chat. I can only apologise for my poor Dogyun skills, KBX, but hopefully we can just enjoy it together, despite my incompetence.
Let the soothing right angles of the red laser.
Yep.
bring you some solace. I do love a good right angle homing laser.
Oh, you're too kind, Octay. You're too kind, Octay. See, my skills seem fine to someone who's never played it.
Shmups are one of those things where, like, you can feel like you're getting comfortable and getting pretty good, and then you go on the YouTubes and then you look up some dude like on CC on hard mode, and you're just like, what have I been doing with my life?
Yeah. 1 CC, no miss, 700 million points. And like yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, for me, just staying alive is like enough. When they start introducing like the crazy scoring mechanics, my brain just shatters. Cause like, I don't know, it's like, oh good, okay, get the fairy, but don't get the bee, and it's just like, I just want to collect everything.
Yeah. Don't get the bee unless you're doing a Hadouken motion and flying the red ship.
Yeah, otherwise it cuts your score in half instead of multiplying it by 10. And you have to kill an enemy within 0.2 nanoseconds. Like, I can't do any of that stuff. That brings up an interesting topic, though, is shmups that use like fighting game style inputs.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that stuff?
As long as it's not like necessary to survive, I'm fine with it. Like Batsugan has got a bunch of bonuses where you have to do command inputs, but it's just for bonuses. It's not something you need to do to like set off a bomb or something like that. Because I am so terrible at doing a Hadouken at the best of times. Under the pressure of playing a shoot 'em up, I don't think I would be able to hack it. Oh god. Death at end of stage. It counted.
Saturn...
It counted.
Oh, that was a lucky one.
Shiny things.
Oh, they're very shiny. With those large numbers appearing. I remember back in the day. Do you remember when Final Fantasy 13 came out and all like the grouchy turds were like, it doesn't mean anything. Giant golden numbers appear everywhere, and I don't like it. And it's like, clearly this person's never played a shmup in their life, because if I see giant golden numbers popping up everywhere, my pleasure center is immediately tickled, and I want to continue playing whatever this is.
I was thinking about this the other day. Like, one of the things I've always liked about Square is how they make completely unnecessary things into what look like game mechanics. Like, I don't know if you remember Final Fantasy 13-2, but like anytime there was a conversation tree in that, it didn't just pop up a conversation tree. It was like active time decision or something like that. And it's like, I love that. I love that shit.
You only have 4 seconds to decide which inane dialogue Sarah will spout out.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Two of the most forgettable characters in video game history. This is coming from a man who loves the Final Fantasy 13 games.
Oh yeah, I do too. But I can't remember a thing about 13-2. I just remember that there was something about time travel, and it didn't make any sense, even by Final Fantasy standards. Yeah,
nothing made sense about that game. But if you loved the combat of Final Fantasy 13, it was more of that plus monster collecting.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I was there like shareware, as they say. And we all know that Lightning Returns is just a secret Valkyrie profile.
Yep. Must revisit those at some point. I've been meaning to go back and play those again for quite a while, because it's been a good few years since I played any of them, and I'd be interested to revisit them with the eyes for mechanics and design that I have now. Yes, KBX, this is Evercade that we're playing here.
Ooh, I like those crystal enemies.
Is there autofire in this? Yes, Dogyun actually is one of the Toaplan games that has built-in autofire. We've added turbo fire to most other shoot-em-ups anyway, but this one actually has it built in, so I'm just holding down the fire button at the minute, and it's just shooting the laser over and over again. So that's nice. I think Dogyun and Grindstormer, I think, and Batsugan all have built-in rapid fire. Batsugan has different mechanics depending on if you're tapping or holding the fire button, but you can just hold down the fire button in that. Whereas this, yeah. Oh dear, that was not nice. Yeah, in this you can just hold the button and blow everything up. I think the only exception to that is the blue weapon in this, where if you hold that down, it gradually gets narrower, whereas if you tap it, it sort of stays at full width. But all the others, you can just... Oh, God.
What was that game that had that like awesome mechanic like that? Was that a thing in Jamestown, right? Like if you held it, you would do your concentrated fire, and if you tapped, you would do your spread fire. Yeah, Don Pachi, the games have it too.
Yeah. Eschatos has something like that, where if you it had 2 fire buttons. So if you shot with one fire button, you did a spread shot with a short range, and with the other fire button, you did a long range focus shot. Can't remember Jamestown, whether Jamestown had that or not. I know Jamestown had that cool mechanic where you sort of charge up your bonus, and you sort of release the bonus, and everything explodes into golden things.
Yes. Yeah. The
Vaunt.
The Vaunt system. Yeah. Gosh, I love that game. It's like level 2, wherein James discovers the hidden enemy within the colony. It's like I love games that like have such a serious tone for no reason at all, other than
it was great because all the level names in that were like they were like chapter headings in like a Victorian novel.
Yeah.
So it was like chapter 3, in which Sir Walter Raleigh discovers a dreadful traitor in the midst.
Yeah, live for that stuff.
Right, you think I'd remember that boomerang by now, wouldn't you? But no. Let's try that again.
Well, at least they don't make you start all the way back, all the way at the beginning of the stage.
No, exactly. It is checkpoint based though, so if you suck, you may well get stuck at a particular point, but you know.
That's classic Toaplan.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I played Truxton after being raised on like a steady diet of strikers.
Yeah.
I just wasn't prepared.
Yeah. There's a couple of their games where for the international releases, they put in respawns instead of checkpoints. But yeah, there's a lot of checkpointing going on. Right, avoid the laser, avoid the swirly thing. There we go. Oh, he does the swirly thing over there now.
He actually has a throw and catch animation for those boomerangs.
Yeah.
It's little things like that.
Yeah, like I say, their focus for this one was graphics. So like they wanted to make the best looking shoot 'em up ever, and they've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, it's quite a handsome game. Speaking of things that aren't handsome, fun fact about Truxton: the TurboGrafx 16 version of Truxton Eeyore PC engine, the meteor enemies just look like sentient meatballs. And it had a whole separate level of like body art they weren't intending. Alright, well, I gotta mute myself for a moment. It's time for me to tackle the incredible boss fight of swapping my laundry into the dryer because adulthood.
I'll take care of that. Oh, thank you for your patience, everyone watching. For those who haven't watched my stuff online before, Chris is a good friend of mine of many years. And we've done podcasting in the past. And it's been hard to make time to do that of late. So we just thought it'd be fun to have a nice evening of playing a few shoot 'em ups and having a chat, because we've not had a chance to just sit and have a chat for a good while now. And we're both big fans of shoot 'em ups, as is probably apparent. So yeah. Right, I'm gonna... No! Egypt! Right. This time's the one. Watch this. Watch this. As my friend Sam would always say before taking the worst pool shot ever. I don't know if the purple laser is optimal for this, but it's nice that it homes in, so I can, in theory, concentrate on dodging. Hello, LVO. LVAO, however we pronounce that. Thank you for joining, and I'm sorry in advance. Alright, let's try one of the other weapons. Let's try the green one.
Is this one of those games where the bosses want you to secretly use a specific weapon?
I don't know. Possibly. The purple one's nice because it... Oh! Remember the things. Right. I'm going to try the green one. I'm going to try the green one because I think the green one is a little bit more powerful by virtue of it not homing in on stuff. So we'll see. So, right. He's going to charge up and shoot. Then he's going to shoot again and shoot me right in the face. Very good. I choose to believe that talking it through as I do it is going to help me remember all these bits. So, he's going to do 2 big blasts to begin with. So, there's one. And here comes another. Then there's going to be a green bolt. No, there's the boomerang. Oh, have I skipped a phase? I think I might have skipped a phase on him. Either that or he's randomized. I don't know. Just keep shooting. Yeah. Keep shooting. Avoid the thing. Why isn't anything blowing up?
Oh.
Oh no! That was progress. That was progress.
Got his laser wiener.
Yeah, I got his laser wiener. That's a start. That was progress, I feel. KBX is chomping at the bit here. Is your use of the term backseat a subtle nod to the fact that Pete should be playing a little more aggressive, closer to the enemy instead of hanging out at the rear of the screen, which is a classic shooter noob move? Highly likely.
It's one of those things that I've always known I should do, but I still can't get away from doing it.
Oh, I know. It's like it's like but moving forward is scary.
Moving forward is so scary. Shmups aren't not unlike life and relationships in general, and that like I know all the things I'm supposed to do, but just I refuse to do them, and then I wonder why it's not getting better.
Yep. Well, I moved forward there, and I got shot in the face by a green thing. So no, dear. Shocking, absolutely shocking behaviour. Right. Right, think this through carefully. He's going to do his big blast. So watch out for his big blast. There's one big blast. Another big blast. There it goes. And throw the thing. And throw the other thing. Yep. And green laser. No, big blast. And throw the thing. And then you'll throw the other thing, presumably. Yes. Big blast. Throw the thing, and then you'll throw the other thing. There it goes. Oh, damn it! I stopped talking. I stopped narrating it, and that caused the problem. That killed me. I choose to believe that.
At least at least the attacks are telegraphed nicely with animations.
Yeah. There's some nice animation cues. Yeah,
it's not exactly. Always a given in games like this.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, you just seem to... He actually throws and catches the boomerang thing, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that does give you a hint of where it's going to come next, I think. Depending on which hand it goes towards.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh. Could I perhaps try the red weapon? Alright, let's try the red weapon. Let's try the red weapon. Alright, boomerang. The homing is nice. The homing means that we can concentrate on dodging, which I think is probably important.
I feel like the boomerang should be destroyable.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I like when a shmup has like slightly realistic logic to it, where like solid things like missiles and like projectiles enemies throw are destroyable, but like laser ammo is not.
Right, so he's coming over there. Big blast down the middle. And a throw. Ooh. He hasn't been doing the green lasers for a little while. I wonder if that's triggered by a particular position. Oddly, the red laser was homing in on the boomerang there. That's interesting. Alright, come on now. Oh, I don't like this. No!
Ah! That was the best one yet.
That was.
This is the part of the day where I would be pressing the home button and shifting to a different game.
We'll have a couple more goes at this, and then maybe we'll switch to something else. So I'm making gradual, incremental improvements.
Journey of 1,000 miles begins
with getting killed repeatedly.
Yeah. Have you tried complimenting? Maybe this is all a misunderstanding.
Right, so dead center is not a safe spot. I thought it was a safe spot. All right, we'll go until game over on this, and then we'll try something else. Because I need some practice.
Try the blue one. Just cut through to the dude in the middle with something that doesn't get. Because I think the red one is hitting all his like ancillary stuff, but it's not like cutting through to hitting the guy in the middle.
Yeah.
And I feel like that one go when you were going really long, I feel like that could have ended if you were hitting the core of the thing instead of just like the ancillary cannons on the side there.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit awkward that it's locking in on the boomerangs when you can't destroy them.
Yeah, you're like, it's hampering your time to damage. It's your DPS.
My DPS.
It's hampering your DPS potential. Let's min-max the shit out of Dog Yoon.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, his boomerangs have you back and forthing so much anyway that a weapon that's center focused won't be a handicap. It'll be
Yeah. Yes, I see what you're saying. Okay, for the sanity of everyone, let's go have a look at something else. What else were you interested in having a look at? Thank you very much, KBX. Your support is appreciated. I will try and improve for next time. What else did you want to have a look at, Chris? You said Fixate you've not seen before?
I've not seen Fixate. I don't know what Gox is, but it has a dumb name, so I bet it's great.
Yep. Grindstorm, you know. Knuckle Bash is cool.
Yeah, the rest of these I'm pretty familiar with.
All right, let's have a go at Fixate then. So Fixate is it's not a sequel to Outzone, but it's very much like Outzone. So it's same kind of thing, top down run and gun.
I love it.
Hypercentury 109. Super entity gods who said suddenly something manipulated their heavy armed detachment to start indiscriminate attack on the human being.
Just one.
Just the one. Facing the crisis, the government of the Galaxy Union has done something. The sturdy warriors from the asteroid Ultimate Penitentiary. And launched them to the planet Fortune, quote, which is the gods' headquarters. The absolute command, destruction of the super entity gods, and termination of the heavy armed detachments. Remuneration, freedom. Alright, let's do it. So, we've got 8 different characters in this one. So we've got H. Young, GX026, Vistario.
Is that a fire-breathing lizard, man?
It is, yes. Then we've got Agatha. Arlangelo. Oh, I better pick someone. Alright, let's go with Agatha. But yeah, they've all got their own weapon loadout. So, like Outzone, you've got this multi-directional shot, and then you can switch to a forward-facing shot as well.
Okay.
So you step on one of these panels, and you change to your forward-facing shot. So Agatha's here as these homing missiles, which are quite slow to come out, but then they home in on stuff, which is nice.
I love a good top-down walkie shooter. You ever play Undead Line?
Yes.
For the Mega Drive?
Yes. Yes, one difference from Outzone is that Outzone's got an energy bar that's constantly declining, then keeping you moving forwards, whereas you don't have that in this. I don't know if there's like a sort of hurry-up mechanic in this. You are sort of encouraged to keep moving forwards, but I don't think it's quite as brutal as Outzone is in that regard. So, and then we've got death, and you've got X bombs as well. Not just bombs, but X bombs.
If there's anything we know, nothing can destroy the free world like X.
Exactly.
I like that these guys are like, they're sci-fi, but they also have a little bit of like a Fist of the North Star like aesthetic to them.
Yeah, so armor with spikes on, that sort of thing.
They're very like diesel punky.
Yeah.
And I like that those tanks appear to be street sweepers as well. So it's nice of the supra entity gods to also keep the cleanliness of their...
Exactly. You know, and if you've got powerful military hardware, you might as well multi-purpose it.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. You can cause death and destruction and keep the streets clean.
I imagine if you're an evil overlord, like there's going to be a lot of like general viscera. On the floor.
Exactly. Someone's got to clean up the blood of your enemies after all.
I can't remember what the name of it is, but I saw, I think Kickstarter the other day, someone's trying to make a, like one of those first-person cleanup duty kind of games, but it's specifically set in dungeons, and you're a goblin. It's in like medieval dungeons, and you're a goblin.
Yeah.
And you have to like survive the traps of the dungeon while trying to clean up the dungeon. Looked really charming. Also, the goblin chick was hot.
Cool. Always important. Right, so I've now got my special weapon. So every character's got a special weapon as well that you get sometimes when you pick up the question mark icons, and that looks like some sort of quite difficult to use grenade type thing. In that case, and we got giant enemy worms in this stage. Excellent. And four-legged spider things. Whoopsie. Oh dear. Oh, let's try the fire-breathing lizard guy. He is indeed a fire-breathing lizard.
Yeah, it really does have a charming aesthetic, that cleanup game. I can't remember what the exact name of it is. I'll look it up quick. I think it might literally be Goblin Cleanup Detail or something like that. Yeah, it's just Goblin Cleanup. It's cute as heck, though. And your mop is a slime, like a sentient slime little monster, just on the end of a broomstick. So like it has little eyes that are blinking at you. It's
Awesome.
really cute. I have like no patience for these games like this, and like I'm terrible at things that are first person, so I'll probably never have a good time playing it. But I'm just genuinely charmed by like this cartoony fantasy, like light-hearted but also gross kind of approach to things. It's like just like a little bit of horror injected into the fantasy, but then like oh you're dead. Like it's silly. I like silly.
Yeah. We've gone ninja powered now.
Oh man, there's always just where is he keeping all the shurikens?
This guy. This guy is I forget which one of the Toaplan guys. This is his favorite character, but like I interviewed them all for the manual, and like one of them was like super enthusiastic about this guy because he likes the fact that when he dies he shouts "That's unreasonable" in Japanese.
That's amazing. That's a Earl of Lemon grab vibes there.
Yeah. Oh god, what is happening?
This is awesome. What is going on?
This whole room is the boss.
I love that. It's like this guy was Sekiro before there was Sekiro. He's got the prosthetic robot ninja arm.
Oh, got a bit of platforming to do. Oh. Alright, who else we got?
And we've come a long way since Dino Ricky, folks.
Oh, we've got Blue Deltim. Oh, hold on, my picture's gone.
Zenyatta from from Overwatch.
Oh.
I'm impressed that there's a dedicated fall animation.
Yep.
Spared no expense.
Oh, special weapon, homing laser. We like this.
Here we go.
If
I
he's
can't make it out. Is he wearing a grass skirt or like particularly baggy yellow pantaloons?
I think it's like a grass skirt or something. With like a sash.
Okay.
If he's floating, then how does he fall down the pits?
Well, maybe it's a thing where he needs to have a surface to repel.
Right.
off of.
Right, yeah. Okay, trundling robot time.
Oh, yeah. It's like instantly, like, that's a lot of missiles. Good job. Press the limbo button.
You didn't hear that, but he screams when he dies, like a person.
Oh my god, is there a man trapped inside him there?
Right on. Alright, let's take the purple one. Speeder bike.
World's deadliest security camera.
Well, this is delightfully ridiculous. Look at the way the missiles pop out of his sides.
It's pretty cool. It's little noticing little stuff like that really just like brings out makes you recognize the amount of like love that these people put into these games. You know? It's such a small thing in the grand scheme, but even just little stuff like the fact that there is a dedicated fall animation for that level with the platforming. It's just like they don't have to do that, and when they do it, it's nice. It's a sign of quality. They don't have to let you be a fire-breathing lizard man, but they did. And I appreciate them for that.
Yes. I mean, when we asked ourselves, why shouldn't the player be a fire-breathing lizard, we didn't have a good answer, so we put a fire-breathing lizard in. Bullets. Bullets.
Those things are adorable. Look at them spin about.
Oh, the little hopping rabbit mechs.
I don't want to kill them. I want to catch them and level them up and see if they turn into a different mech.
Ooh, there.
Yeah, I'll take it. Fixate Mon, let's do it. I've been thinking a lot about my hypothetical dream game, as I often do, and I often mention Sigma Star Saga for the GBA from Way Forward.
Yeah.
The RPG where the battle sequences are mini shmups. Imagine like taking it to the next level and like there being a game with like the RPG shell, like the shmup combat, and then like a monster collecting element. Maybe like where you collect different ships with different like abilities and shot patterns, and like can level them up individually or like combine them or outfit them with different weapons, like so you can scratch that collector itch that I always have, but then also be playing a shmup and also be playing an RPG. Thank you. It does sound sick. I appreciate that. I would play that a lot if it existed.
Oh, I'm getting dark fact from E's flashbacks with the disappearing floor.
Exactly. It's like the garbage pizza. Why choose a thing when you can have literally everything in the fridge? I've long been of the frame of mind, if the modern indie scene has taught me anything, there's no limit to how many genres you can mash up at once, as long as you do it thoughtfully and you actually think about the mechanics.
Yep.
It's like how many times anymore I'm playing a game and I text you and I'm like, oh, you gotta play this. It's this meets this meets this. It's like the only way I can talk about games anymore. Ooh, cooking sim fighting game 2. I've never played a cooking sim fighting game 2-in-1, but I have played a cooking sim puzzle game 2D beat 'em up all in one.
Oh,
Battle Chef Brigade.
Oh yeah.
That game was exceptional. Beautiful hand-drawn 2D animation.
Yes. There's still plenty of bold experiments to be had, and there's some things we can revisit. Like, I remember you used to find my description of Trauma Center as arcade surgery quite entertaining.
Yes.
We need some more arcade surgery games. We haven't had one of them for a good few years.
That'd be cool.
Or they could just reissue Trauma Team, and I'd be happy with that. They could actually release it in Europe this time. If only.
I wonder if a game like that could be made to work well with the little touchpad thing on the PlayStation controller.
Could be.
I don't know how sensitive that is, or if it's just for menus. But I'm definitely like a huge fan of when games take advantage of all the bonkers features of the PlayStation controller's growing complexity. I was playing Gory Cuddly Carnage the other day, which I highly recommend. And it does the classic thing where like your Razor skateboard friend is also a sentient robot friend, so it talks it to you through the controller when you're like getting high scores and stuff. And it's just always a delight. It's like such a shock when it first happens, but then it's like there's just something about how that's coming out as ambient sound that makes it feel so diegetic. Love that game.
My wife still doesn't like it when the controller talks to you. Like every time I play a PlayStation game that's got a controller all day, she's like, "Why is it doing that?"
Takes me back to the good old days of playing Skies of Arcadia on the Dreamcast, where if you had the VMU, it would beep and make little noises at you if you were close enough to like one of the crystals that could power up the one character's special moves.
Yeah. And then there was Silent Hill Shattered Memories, using it as your phone.
Oh, did they do that? That's really cool.
Yeah, there were bits where like your phone would ring and you'd have to hold the Wii remote up to your ear and listen to it through the speaker, and it was always like the sounds of someone dying horribly or something like that, because it was Silent Hill. But you know.
Yeah, it is. It is Gori, not Gory. It's so good. Highly recommend it. Going back to what I was saying earlier about it's this versus this, just imagine if somehow like Jet Set Radio had Devil May Cry combat, and then was like, and then had like a stupid, like balls to the wall, carnage, like blood and gore aesthetic, and like a Devil May Care attitude where it just says the F word constantly. Your little like hoverboard sentient robot friend can't curse because he's a toy and he's programmed not to be able to curse, so he's beeped out when he tries to curse. But you can, in the game, then at the shop, you can buy a power-up that removes his curse filter.
Excellent.
Also, because you're a cat on a hoverboard, there's skins for the cat that changes the coat, the cat's coat. So there happens to be a tuxedo one that looks exactly like my one cat Winston, so I have him obviously set up like that.
I don't think I knew your cat's names, but Winston is an excellent name for a cat.
Yeah, Winston is the tuxedo guy, and then the two torties are Penny and Dumpling.
Oh. My childhood cat was called Penny. My childhood cat was Penny. She was a black and white one.
Penny's a good name. Normally, like, I'm the kind of guy who gets a shelter pet and just immediately has to change the name. But these guys all came with stellar names, so I kept them for a change. Normally, it's like you go to the shelter to adopt cats, and it's like the lady who like adopted them picked some like theme or something. Like I named all of these after the stars of Ocean's 11. Like this is George Clooney cat, and this is Matt Damon cat, and like no, I won't be calling them that.
Yeah.
So I was pleasantly surprised by Penny.
Yeah. The second cat we had when I was a kid was called Kitty, and she was a shelter cat as well, but she already knew her name as Kitty, so we couldn't change it. But like anytime we introduced her to people, it's like, this is Kitty, we didn't name her.
We're from an alternate dimension where things are just called what they are. I'm man, this is woman, this is child.
Oh dear. Shoot them up, says Crunchy Snacker. That's right. They're shooting me up quite a bit at the minute, actually. Not convinced by this guy's weapon. It's nice to have the explodey stuff, but it's very short range.
Gotta get up in there.
Oh, it's hoverbike time again.
Got the classic tank thingy that's a whole stage in and of itself aesthetic going on. This is a requirement at least once. What's that one shooter where you're like the mech and you have like 8-way directional shot and you're flying? That
Asterbreed?
Yeah, that might be it. It's on one of the Evercade carts. That game has a lot of the good, like, giant warships that are, like, multi-screens long.
Yeah. Yeah, this game is pretty cool. A lot of sort of hardcore Toaplan fans don't like it quite as much as Outzone, I don't think, but it's no, it's a lot of fun. And I think it's a bit easier than Outzone as well, which is a good thing for some of us. I mean, like, yes, I've used 9 credits already, but you know, we're making consistent progress, and it's not just because this isn't checkpointed. Yeah, they can be a difficult genre to get started with, but it's one of those things where you just got to sort of pick one and jump in, really.
Also, YouTube videos help. Yeah, you'd be amazed at how many like genuine, like beginner skill sets that can help that you can learn about just by watching someone like Shmup Junkie talk through them.
Yeah. You can't hear this, Chris, but the soundtrack for this level is incredible. It's got like sort of House of Pain style in the background of it. It's like jump around.
I appreciate that. That's how you know you're working hard.
Oh, lots of bombs. I think in this game, I think you have to be a bit more aggressive with bombs than I've been, because you seem to get a lot of bombs, which is good. Bombs make things go boom.
It's true. Do they bullet cancel in this one? I haven't been paying attention.
I think so. They certainly give you some invincibility. I don't know if they like outright cancel bullets, but oh no, oh dear.
I really like it in a shmup when the bombs actually have like a mechanical effect on the world around you, if that makes sense. Like like a gravity well or something. Like, you know, they do more than just cause damage and bullet cancel, but they actually like affect things. I can't name a game off the top of my head that does that, but I have played games that do that because the idea is in my head that it exists. I've played a lot of games.
Haven't we all? Yes, they do bullet cancel.
I mean, bombs are fine too. You can use them to bullet cancel, but it's a lot messier. Ooh, nice docking animation there.
Yeah, the animations and the designs in this are pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like the enemies run the gamut of like in absolutely insane to like kitchen appliance.
Yeah.
Like some of these guys come rolling in and they're just like rectangles with lenses. And like, what is going on? And then like 20 seconds later, like the Fist of the North Star spiky dudes are back, like throwing Molotov cocktails at you or whatever. It's kind of a nice...
The little hopping dudes are going to take some beating, though.
Poor guys. It's not their fault. Their design doesn't allow them to turn around any faster than than that. We weren't prepared for 8 directions.
Sorry, repeat that. He's standing behind us. What do you mean?
Goodness gracious.
We're not equipped to deal with enemies that are standing behind us. Oh dear.
More games need the like auto turnaround instantly button.
Mm-hmm.
I'll use that as a segue to talk about Remnant 2, because that game, enemies sneak up behind you constantly.
Oh, yes.
And that game radically needs a turnaround instantly button, and it does not have one.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
dear.
there's like one in Etrian Odyssey, but like I don't need it in Etrian Odyssey.
There's one in Silent Hill 2 Remake as well.
Is there?
Yeah.
Interesting.
They've I had mixed feelings about the combat in that when I first started, but by the end of it, I was having a good time. Apart from the bosses, which suck, but then Silent Hill bosses have always kind of sucked, so that was just in keeping with it. But the actual combat is cool. So like all their little mannequin enemies and stuff, they've sort of done. They've done things where they like make them hide around corners and sort of hiding in plain sight and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of them sort of jumping out when you don't expect, and there's a lot of you come around a corner and there's one just standing there, and there's like a moment of you just looking at it and you can feel it looking back at you, and you're like but they put in a quick dodge as well, which improves the combat immeasurably, because there's some quite generous invincibility frames on it. So when something is lunging at you, you can actually dodge out of the way now, instead of having to sort of just turn slowly to one side and then hope you get out of the way quick enough.
Yeah, like walk back at the slowest pace possible. You know my feelings are survival horror games. I want to like them, I just don't.
Yeah, well, we seem to have finally moved past the controls are supposed to be bad phase.
Oh, I used to hate that argument.
I get it. I get why it's a thing, but no.
Well, I mean, there are certain things, certain mechanical design elements of a survival horror game that are clearly meant to create a feeling of powerlessness in a world that's more powerful than you, right?
Yes.
It's one thing to have your protagonist be weak. It's one thing to have the weapon selection just be like weird everyday objects and like tiny handguns or super limited ammo.
Yeah.
It's one thing to make your protagonist be like an everyday man, not a combat specialist, so that they're vulnerable and they can be afraid and their reaction times aren't great. But there's nothing about the experience.
Go to hell.
There's nothing about the experience of tank controls that have anything to do with making you, the player, feel powerless as a mechanical choice.
Yeah.
Tank controls as a thing exist because of the programming necessities that arrive out of pre-rendered backgrounds.
Yeah.
That's it. Period.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with making you feel powerless, because I've played plenty of older games from that generation before the onset of analog control that also had tank controls that didn't want me to feel powerless.
Yeah.
So it's a dumb argument. It doesn't make sense. That's why I quite like modern Resident Evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's just a stupid action game with horror elements.
Oh, we've done it. The Age of Terror, which seized the galaxy, has ended thanks to the Super Warriors. Who could foresee that this fierce battle was just a preliminary chapter of a great disaster, brackets?
I could not foresee it.
No, well, there we go. GX026 in the year HC120.
Just say ecology.
Oh, that's
Flat on his sash.
He's supported by all the robots of the galaxy. Won the election by singing "The Galaxy with Flowers and Planets." Became Galaxy Environment Minister for the first time as a robot. Oh, is there a unique ending for each character? Oh, that's awesome. If so,
that.
Welcome, hard mode fixate. Oh, there's another loop, I guess.
Oh no.
All right, we'll go until game over, and then we'll switch to something else. But yes, hard mode.
Oh man, watch out for the Roombas.
Yeah, this is a cool game. I am a fan.
Yeah, all right. I love. I don't know. Do we call these run and guns? I feel like that's reserved for games like Contra and Metal Slug.
I tend to call these top-down run and guns because they are ridiculous energy bouncing things. Yeah, because they are a distinct thing from shoot 'em ups. I think they have a lot in common, but I think the sort of controlling of your own pace, I think, is an important distinguishing factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love games like this. I have such fond memories of Neo Contra on the PS2.
Yeah.
I loved that game. So this is a run. So yeah, do we then distinguish it vertical v horizontal like we do with regular shmups, i.e. vertical run and gun and horizontal run and gun?
I guess, although I'm not like super familiar with sort of horizontal run and guns, unless you're sort of talking the platformer ones, which I would tend to call the platformer ones just run and gun, whereas this would be top down run and gun. That's how I tend to describe them anyway. So
yeah. I mean, in a way, it's not much different from the regular shooters in that there's a horizontal configuration and a vertical configuration.
All right, cool. So that was Fixate. You hadn't seen Vimana either, had you? I don't think.
Yeah, Vimana's that one that has like the Sanskrit like theme, right?
Yeah. It's got a lot of sort of Indian and Hindu, and I think there's some Buddhist stuff in there as well. But yeah, it's cool. It's this is another sort of slightly easier one. It's very much Truxton light.
I like the sound of that,
which is cool. But yeah, you literally launch out a thing with Ganesh on either side, so...
Oh, perfect. Ganesh lasers.
Snow Brothers 2 does have the horrifying character select screen, I'm sorry to say. That is present and correct.
Wait, what is horrifying about it? Now you have to play it.
Oh, have you not seen Snow Brothers 2's character select screen?
I mean, not in like a decade.
Oh, we'll have to pay that a visit in a minute. But yeah, it has the strangest character designs I think I've ever seen.
Fascinating. Have you seen the footage of that like new, slightly 3D Snow Brothers?
Yeah.
That's going to be available. That looks like a lot of fun. I'm having a little bit of a personal crisis as to whether I want to pony up $40 for a physical copy of it, but it looks like a ton of fun.
Yeah.
You guys are really scaring me. Is it just like everything made of meat? Is it some kind of like Cronenbergian like horror show where it's like someone has imagined what it would look like if snowmen were organic beings made of flesh? Like
it's hard to explain in words, but basically they're all based on digitized photos of babies.
Oh no.
Yeah.
There's one thing that frightens me more than Cronenbergian body horror, it's actual babies.
Yeah. Yeah, and the hilarious thing is that the sort of close-up character faces bear absolutely no resemblance to the sprites. so they just put them in there just to mess with people.
I love that. I love that level of
it's
classic trolling.
It's one of those things that I asked them about in the interviews to the manuals, and it was one of those questions where I feel like I very pointedly didn't get an answer for it. Because
they were like snickering.
Because I don't think anyone who is still at Tatsujin, which is made up of the ex-Toaplan employees. I don't think anyone who's still there actually knows what the reason behind it was.
That's weird. Probably just didn't feel like making sprites.
It's like, yeah, good enough. But yeah, this is a very straightforward shoot 'em up. You've just got a single weapon type with power-ups. You've got actually the bombs in this are quite interesting. 'Cause they're called circle bombs, and they do this.
Oh, that is cool.
So yeah, that's neat. So they sort of protect you, but they also home in on enemies.
Yeah, I like that.
You do also have a charge shot as well, which all the strategy guides for this I've read online suggest I should be using a lot more than I do. But it seems to take a while to charge up, but then it does like a widespread like that.
Oh, okay.
But it just doesn't seem very effective. So I don't know what if you should try and power up first before you use it, but I don't know. Supposedly you should be using it more.
Huh.
But you know, I get by with the rapid fire.
Is there a way to charge it faster?
I don't think so, but you can let it off when it's half charged, and it does a narrower spread like that.
Oh, so okay, so character select screen uses normal art of the characters in Asian tours. So this was a deliberate choice?
Oh,
Were they
wow.
punishing the Western territories? What is... Or is it one of those like classic examples of like Westerners aren't ready for the anime aesthetic, so we're gonna put like Boris Vallejo and Julie Bell art on something that's like clearly like anime schoolgirls, like
Yeah.
like the U.S. cover of Elysia Dragoon.
Oh, I saw a funny post on Blue Sky the other day. There was someone talking about different types of localization, and they had Castle of Shikigami 2 as its own category. And
Ooh, you mean Mobile Light Force?
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with the incredible voice acting in that game, but yeah, it's quite something.
Yeah. Mobile Light Force. Oh, that brings me back. Yeah, I mean, it's a good theory. That does seem totally feasible. I mean, just look at the abominations we got back in the day. Like keep going to Genesis games because I was a Sega kid, but like, I mean, you can't get more anime aesthetic-y than the Westone Wonder Boy games. And
yeah.
Wonder Boy and Monster World had that weird, like, horrifying graphic art where it tried to like do like a westernized airbrush version of the hero that still kind of had an anime aesthetic, but it was just like a glossy anime aesthetic. In many ways, it looks like AI slop.
Yeah.
It's just like, but like, yes, clearly this is better. Yeah, that's true too. There was zero reason to do this, to redo the Sonic stuff with that weird like airbrushed quality. Zero reason.
Yeah, because the Japanese Sonic boxes are they are like super 90s in style, aren't they? They're like all the sort of swooshes of color and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
and the
green, yellow triangles aplenty.
Yeah, but like I'm not super familiar with whether the North American Sonic box art is as boring as our European one, but it's. Yeah, but the European box art for both Sonic and Sonic 2 is very dull.
The US box art for Sonic 2 is super iconic. It has like this big, like looming, like slightly three-dimensional 2 with the airbrush and like Robotnik's like laughing like visage in the background, and like it's very menacing. It's very cool, but yeah, I mean to the chat's point there, it's just a very strange choice from a publishing standpoint because you know, it's not like they made Sonic and Tails photorealistic in the Western box arts, right?
Yeah.
They just redrew them in a very distinctly Western style. So it's just odd. It's just a, you know, kind of a weird choice.
Yeah. I think one of my favourite contrasts has still got to be Alicia Dragoon, with like how it goes from anime to heavy metal cover.
Yeah, it's a classic example. Same thing with all the Valis games that made it West.
Yeah,
just that horrible like Western like comic style art with way too much airbrushing and like weird facial expressions, and it's like they knew it was a Japanese schoolgirl game because like the Western art had her in the schoolgirl outfit, but they just drew it that way. Except for Cida Valis. Cida Valis just had the same cover as the Japanese one with the little SD sprites. Yeah, the El Viento box art certainly has its charm. But that's another one that, like, when I fired it up for the first time and, like, saw those, like, gorgeous anime Wolf Team FMV sequences in the beginning, it just, like, I don't know, I think from a very young age I was like, the anime aesthetic is where it's at for me.
Yeah.
So, those bright colors and that classic two-tone shading.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember where I saw it for the first time. It was probably... there's a game on ST and Amiga called Gemex. It's a puzzle game, and it's by a German company, I think. But for some reason, they decided to use like a super anime aesthetic for it, including in the marketing. And like the in-game art isn't particularly well drawn or anything like that, but I think that was probably my first encounter with it, and I found it very striking back then. And then my brother, who was working on games magazines at the time, he was on PC Zone, I think, at the time, and they'd just done a feature on Megatech, which is one of the first companies to localize visual novels for the West. And then he did another feature on Manga Video, which is one of the first video distributors of anime. And so one time he came home, he'd got all these promotional samples of like every 90s anime you can think of. So there was stuff like 3x3 Eyes, and there was Heroic Legend of Arislan, and there was Urotsuki Doji as well.
Oh, good.
And
just,
and being like 14 at the time and thinking, ooh, 18 rated anime, this sounds interesting. My parents were out, so I put it on and promptly traumatized myself.
I was young. I was younger than 14 the first time I watched Urotsuki Doji, so like the little privately owned game shop down the street from me used to rent movies as well, and they had a shelf of quote Japanimation end quote. God, yeah. And they weren't particularly picky about checking IDs back in the day. So like, I took home Urotsuki Doji, the original Ninja Scroll, and all those classic Shiro Masamune, Appleseed and Ghosted in the Shell.
Yeah.
Just that delicious 1990s OVA aesthetic where everything is blood and guts and spinal cords and tits for like God, I miss those days. You ever just go on YouTube and look up like footage of Demon City Shinjuku and like Cursed Megalopolis?
Yep.
Like, God, all those movies, that was such a feel. I just got a Blu-ray remaster of Genocyber.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that one's a treat. And then like people wonder why like I'm such a grouchy old man about like isekai anime. Yeah, like it's all too clean. I grew up on Demon City Shinjuku, where people just like are exploding because like tentacles are inside them, or like mecha anime like Megazone 23, or where like the mech blows up and it just like shows the dude's face like melting in the cockpit.
I think one of the issues I was talking about something unrelated, specifically to anime, but it applies to anime as well. But we were talking about subverting expectations itself becoming a cliche. And I think that's one of the problems with a lot of the isekai stuff, because it goes, oh, it looks all cute and wholesome, but it's actually really horrible. That is like being done so often now that it's kind of losing its effect. And I think that's what they were going for with a lot of the isekai stuff was like, oh yeah, this is colourful and nice and everything, but there's actually like a really horrible undercurrent. But that's been done so often now that it has itself become a cliche.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't have anything against that specific approach.
No, like, I don't either. But you know,
but I'm an old man, so it's like
it's been done. It's been done, and there's stuff you prefer. So
what's the one that's like the absolute like pinnacle of that? Why can't I think of it? I freaking love this show. The magical girl one. Where it's all cute, and then it's like, surprise, you die.
Oh, Madoka.
Yeah, that's it. Man, Madoka Magica. That I love, right? And like at its time, that was such a game changer, right? The idea of like, let's look at magical girls from the lens of there being a price to pay, right?
Yeah.
Like, incredible. There was another one a couple of years ago that was quite interesting, where they had an approach to magical girls that was kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar with the show The Boys.
I haven't watched it, but I'm familiar with the concept, certainly.
Right, so it was kind of like The Boys, but with magical girls. Like, they were like part of the military-industrial complex, and like sponsored and like corporatized.
Yeah.
So like, I thought that was really excellent as well. But like, to just like be like, this is cute and clean, but surprise it's not. Like, it has to be earned.
Yeah.
There has to be a real...
No.
I would watch The Time I Was Reincarnated as my neighbor's dog's previous owner's ex-wife's taxi driver. I would absolutely watch that. When I do like isekai is when it's fucking stupid. Like, I love the one where it's like, I died and now I'm a vending machine and some cute muscle girl has to carry me around on her back, and if I don't make so many sales in a day, I die.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that is so stupid. Like, incredible. Cannot get enough of it. Also the spider one. Like, I'm reincarnated as a spider now, so what?
Yeah.
And like, stuff like that's really great to me. But I can only take so much of like the like, I'm reincarnated in the other world and I was a nerd back home, but because I understand RPGs now I'm the guy who can do everything and knows everything. Konosuba's an exception to that just because it's so goddamn charming, the writing's so good and the art's so incredible and all the characters are so lovable.
Yeah.
But like, generally speaking, I just like, they're so samey that it's like, why bother even making? Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, no shade to anyone who enjoys them. You enjoy what you enjoy, you do you. But just like from an aesthetic standpoint and a narrative standpoint, like, I've only got so much time in my life to watch anime, so I want the stuff that I do watch to be really special. And that's why I watched the one about the vending machine.
Yeah.
Because I'm a man of taste.
Yeah, I haven't actually watched any anime for quite a while now. Like for me, one of the best seasons of anime was still the one where we had Kobayashi's Dragon Maid and interviews with Monster Girls, and there was a third one that
was
season,
a good
wasn't it?
year. Because that was Monster Musume that year too.
Was that year as well? I guess it might have been. Yeah.
If it wasn't the same year, it was the same like 2-year span.
Yeah.
But like.
Oh, Gabriel Dropout was the other good one that season.
Oh, I love Gabriel Dropout. Yeah. And like, that's another one, right? Like, the writing in that is so crisp and funny.
Yeah.
The characters are so endearing. But there's like, I don't know, like 15 odd other, like, I'm an angel and I'm a devil and now I'm on the real world and I don't know how to do human things shows but like none of them reach that. They're all just so like they're not as good. They just feel like cheap copies.
Yeah.
It's like they took the concept without understanding what made Gabriel Dropout such a shining, fun new thing. And it was the writing, not the concept. It was the way the writing made the concept something that was special. So, I don't know. It's a difficult position to be in, to be a person who has media literacy but also likes anime. I've been watching Bravern, Bang Bravern, which is it's a mech series, but it's kind of melding like real robot military mech series, like storytelling with like super robot, like crazy super robot storytelling, and like kind of highlighting the inherent clash between the two genres.
Yeah.
But it's also super homoerotic and like definitely and like also like a Top Gun tribute, right? Like in that weird like let's play like oily volleyball way. So like it's been really interesting to watch a show that's kind of grappling with masculinity and sexuality in a way that you don't usually see in anime, without explicitly being like a yaoi anime. So that's been really cool to watch. And they do a lot of interesting things with exploring like what it might be about the psyche that makes giant robot fans. Like is it the idea of control? Is it the idea of something giving you power when you feel powerless? So there's a lot of really interesting things going on there behind the scenes from like a literary standpoint.
That was kind of one of the things in Demon Bane. I know the anime for that kind of sucks, but the visual novel for that was like full of themes like that, because the main character was like a complete sort of down on his luck, hard-boiled. He was a noir protagonist basically, but he sort of came into contact with the Necronomicon, who was personified as a cute girl, of course, and he became the master of this giant robot and ended up punching out Cthulhu in low Earth orbit, and it was great.
Yeah, I could get down with that. I think you've told me details about Demon Bane before, and I'm just not a visual novel guy, and the anime was crap. So I just couldn't get into it. But doesn't necessarily mean it's always the case. Like the anime adaptation of Muv-Luv is pretty good.
Yes.
It's not great, but it's bearable.
Yeah. Anime of Steins Gate is supposed to be very good as well. That's not giant robot, but like it's the anime is a worthwhile way of experiencing that story if you haven't.
Lately, I've been watching the Azure Lane anime, which is less terrible than I expected it to be.
That and Kantai Collection is surprisingly good, and surprisingly uncompromising at times as well. It's like I remember, I think it was Kantai Collection. I watched one of the first episodes of that, and like one of the main characters just flat out dies in the first episode of that, and I was wow. Okay.
So they're really leaning hard on the war.
Yeah.
I think so far Azure Lane's been a lot more cutesy than that, but I just really appreciate that they didn't go cheap on it. Like the fighting is really cool. Like the aesthetic of how like the ship girls kind of skate on the water like it's ice and stuff when they're fighting is just really neat to me. So I've been enjoying that a lot. And I'm just hoping and praying that Bremerton shows up at some point, but I'm not optimistic. Some of these bosses have some pretty interesting aesthetics too. It's definitely like in keeping with the specific theme. Are you supposed to like shoot those red eyes to make the gate retract?
Oh, you're right, you know. There I was, just shooting down the middle.
That's cool. You don't really see mechanics like that in shmup boss fights too often.
Well, that's actually making the bullet pattern easy to deal with as well.
Yeah, right, because he's got fewer little nodes exposed. Very cool.
There we go.
Is this one of those games where, like, as we progress, it's going to get less and less like technological, and then the boss is just going to be like the turtle with like the elephants on its back holding up the world, or whatever that is in Hindu mythology?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm all about it if that's the case. I just was curious. Have you ever played all the way through the arcade version of Astanax?
No, actually.
Oh man, that's a thing. Let me tell you. It's like, you know, classic like barbarian medieval fantasy side scroller, right? But then the last level is just like, surprise, it was aliens all along, and then it just turns into like Alien and Aliens, just like the enemies, the backgrounds, all just a goddamn ripoff of Aliens. And it's incredible. So you're like barbarian man, like axe punching like xenomorphs in the face.
I love Jalico. They do some of the craziest, most enjoyable nonsense.
Have you ever revisited Punky Skunk as an adult?
I haven't, no.
So, Punky Skunk got shit on so bad when it first came out, like, because it was a sprite-based 2D platformer on the PlayStation. But if you go back and play it now, not being a jerk with your head up your ass, like, it's a really cool, brightly colored 2D side-scroller, sprite-based on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Which means utilizing the power of the PlayStation to have sprites with lots of colors and lots of animation. And it's actually quite a delight. As we always said back in the day, everyone was dreaming of polygons, so if it was 2D, it was no good.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, and it's funny, and you look at the 2D stuff on the PlayStation, and a lot of it has aged a lot better than the 3D stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then you have stuff like Mega Man Legends that is such an iconic aesthetic that it like stands the test of time forever. But that's not usually the case, right? Everything's just like muddy, generally speaking. But yeah, Jalico is a really cool company. Jalico is one of those companies that, like, whenever I think about a game that was like weird that I played when I was a kid, it turns out it was a Jalico game.
Yeah.
What's that? Was Low G-Man Jalico? That was one of those games that like haunts my memories as a child because it just had like a really weird. No, that was Naxat.
They also do some excellent weird stuff.
Yeah, Kindle Image Develop. No, Barai. They did Barai Fighter, kid. Now I'm falling down a rabbit hole. I gotta think of what are some of the other Jalico games that like defined my childhood. City Connection, obviously.
Still makes me laugh that they thought we couldn't handle a girl in the leading role for the Western release of that.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot about that. And of course your beloved Rodland. And that 2D shmup Earth Defense Force that has nothing to do with what we know as Earth Defense Force.
Yep. Still confusing people to this day.
Indeed. Cybattler, which I think that's the robot shmup I was talking about earlier with the great big. Oh, I'll mention EDF all day long. Don't you worry. I'm playing World Brothers 2 right now. Holy crap, is that a lot of fun.
Is that the voxely one?
Yes. Yeah, World Brothers is really great because instead of collecting weapons, you collect characters. So there's like almost a Pokemon feel to it. Like there's like tons of characters, and they all have like radically different like guns they use, a different like bomb and stuff. And it's really fun to have like a party that consists of like Japanese racially insensitive stereotypes, like a mariachi guy and like a Dracula. You can get a Dracula. Still looking at the Jalico list. They distributed Gunbird, but that was developed by Psycho. Here's a game called Spider Splattin'. That's for you.
I think KBX wants us to mention P47 as well.
I don't know what is P47.
P47 it's a World War II horizontal scrolling shmup from Jalico.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I've ever played that one.
It's on the Jalico arcade cart for Evercade, so you can educate yourself.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's a good one. That it's got some interesting weapon systems. Because you've got like a standard shot, but then you've got a secondary weapon as well, which sometimes is like a bomb, and sometimes is like homing missiles, and sometimes is a directional shot. It's interesting.
Okay.
It's relatively early, I think, but it's cool. It's worth spending some time with.
Yeah, I really specifically love like realistically grounded shmups.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how realistically grounded, quote unquote, it is, but there's that one on Super Nintendo that's based on that like jet fighter anime. I can't remember the name.
UN Squadron.
Yeah, that's the one. Love that game. And I forgot about all the stuff that like Tosei developed that Jalico published, like all the Ninja Jajamaru-kun games.
Yeah.
Those are great. Those yeah, Area 88's the Japanese name. That's it. Yeah. I've been meaning to watch the show too, but I can't really find like a good version of it that doesn't make my eyes bleed.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here from Jalico.
I've been trying to remember this for years, and I doubt anyone in the chat is going to be able to help me with this, but there was a, I'm sure it was like a weekly computer magazine that was here in the UK, and every issue they had a comic strip that was based on a guy who'd got sucked into his video game console. And I remember one of the most striking episodes of that was based on UN Squadron. But I cannot for the life of me remember what magazine it was. I normally have like a ridiculous memory for the magazines of my youth, but I cannot for the life of me remember what this one was. But it was super cool because it was like some really good quality comic book art. But it was based on UN Squadron, and it was neat. It wasn't an adaptation of the manga or the anime. It was a guy got sucked into the game UN Squadron. But yes, one day I'll find it. I have a feeling. Again, this might not mean anything to a lot of people in the chat, but I have a feeling that Mr. Biffo from Digitizer used to do a column in there as well.
Interesting.
So yeah, I've been trying to track that down for years, and I just can't remember. But I think that was the first time I encountered that game, because I got a Super NES quite late, so I only had a few games for it. But I always enjoyed my brother coming home because he was working on games magazines at the time, and he was working on console magazines specifically at that point. He would often come home armed with like a Japanese Super Famicom or a Mega Drive, and with a bunch of latest releases for it. So I got the opportunity to try a lot of stuff that I never actually owned, but yeah, made my friends at school very jealous.
Ooh, I'm still looking at this Jalico list. I forgot about Irritating Stick.
That was them.
Well, they distributed it
right.
in the West. It was developed by Saris. which is a whole nother rabbit hole I could go falling down. Saris did a lot of those like really crazy Neo Geo shmups that had that like CG aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like Dinosaur Island and the second, at least the second, Shock Troopers. Shock Troopers. Love Shock Troopers.
I'm going to show you the Snow Brothers character select screen now.
Oh no.
I hope you're ready for this.
Well, that's already frightening me, whatever that is. So.
Oh, yeah, it gets worse. It's Princess.
I don't like that either. We're not starting off good.
See, all perfectly normal. All perfectly normal.
I mean,
what you expect to see from Snow Brothers at this point.
I mean, to be fair, the Snow Brothers sprites themselves disturb me a little bit.
True. But then you have this.
No! Why? I mean, the Oni one is incredible. That's just common. So, that's crazy because then, like, they made the babies, but they made them be like the Japanese mythology shit. Like the one's a Kappa, the one's an Oni.
Yeah.
Yes, Shock Troopers is awesome. I am obsessed with Shock Troopers.
Oh, I love Shock Troopers as well.
I don't have a Neo Geo anymore, but I used to have a Neo Geo and a real MVS arcade copy of Second Squad, and it was clear acrylic plastic, and you could see the circuit boards, and it was one of my prized possessions. And now I don't have it anymore because I sold it, and I regret it every day of my life. But 2008 was hard on a lot of people.
Yep.
Yeah, man, I used to have a Neo Geo, and it was modded for HD output.
Oh wow.
And then I had an adapter that would let me play the MVS arcade carts at home on that.
Yeah.
So like I would just buy MVS carts and play like. I used to also have the fighting game based off the Tengai Makyo RPG series.
Oh yeah.
And like that game is so much fun. Also, unironically, one of my favorite character select screen musics in all of fighting. Just like the fact that even exists is bonkers. Like when you were a kid, like how much would you have killed for like some of your favorite RPGs to have fighting games based on them?
Yeah.
Like where you could just like be your favorite characters and wail on other characters. Like it's crazy stuff.
I like seeing people discover air guides on PlayStation for the first time.
Yes. I love Air Guys. Unironically love Air Guys. The memories I have of that game are incredible.
Yeah.
I think we talked a lot about Air Guys back in the day because I love what is that game? Crimson
Tears, is it? I think
it might be Crimson Tears. Yeah, I keep mixing Crimson Tears up with what's that one?
Crimson Skies is the other one, I think. I think it's Crimson Tears is the one you're thinking of.
Yeah, Crimson Skies is that airplane fighting game for the original Xbox. That's also a great game. Yeah, Crimson Tears, I think, is the game that's basically just the RPG mode from Air Guys extrapolated into a fully featured game.
Yeah.
And it has that really cool cel-shaded aesthetic.
Yes, I remember you enthusing about that, and then I went out and got a copy, and it was like a $5 because no one's heard of it.
Yeah, it was always like that back in the PlayStation 2 days. There were so many bangers that nobody played because everyone just wanted everything to be like. If it wasn't Final Fantasy X or God of War, like nobody liked it, and it got like shit on in the reviews. But like returning to the PS2 now as like someone who appreciates like games with interesting mechanics or like, you know, AA games or like low budget games, like the PS2 was such a golden age of like hitting the sweet spot between like excellent, like giving enough technology to achieve some really cool things, but also still old school enough that it was not like everything was an open world collect flags
Yeah.
until you fall asleep festival. I think back to some of those early, well, not early, but like just like when Level 5 was at their best on the PS2. Rogue Galaxy, both Dark Cloud / Dark Genie games. Dragon Quest 8. Just, it really was something. What a time to be alive. I wonder what happened to the people who developed Air Guys. I mean, I'm sure that studio's not open anymore, but I wonder if those people, like, you know, classic diaspora, like, what have they worked on?
Yeah. What were they called? It was Dream Factory or something, wasn't it? Was it Dream Factory? Yeah.
Yeah. So they did the Toe Ball games on PS1.
Yeah.
They did Bouncer, technically. Like, Square published Bouncer, but they developed it. You can follow me nowhere. I shun social media.
There's your answer. Is your website still up?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to chriskasky.com and that'll take you to my link tree where I post my art and my photography of my toy collection, but like I don't really have anywhere where I talk. Because I'm really like a hermit. Like when Pete summons me, I show up, but
I don't blame you one bit, to be honest.
But yeah, you're also, you know, you're welcome to follow me or friend me on Discord. That's fine too. I'm not on a whole heck of a lot. I'm a bit of a solo hermit gamer, but I do play FF14 from time to time.
Oh dear.
Oh my god. This list of things that Dream Factory developed is blowing my mind. I had no idea they developed Kakuto Chojin for the Xbox. do you remember Kakuto Chojin?
Very
Back
vaguely.
Alley Brutal?
Yeah.
Oh, it was very, very unpleasant to play. It was during the time where, like, if a game wasn't, like, hip-hop streetified, it just wasn't allowed to come out.
Yeah.
And like wow, like every Naruto, like a bunch of Naruto games on the DS. Yeah, this is a classic, like How the Mighty Have Fallen. So the company's chairman, Seiichi Ishii, is an industry veteran who served as an early designer and director for Tekken and Virtua Fighter. So, like, serious pedigree. So now I'm looking up this guy, Seiichi Ishii. And the last game he worked on was Crimson Tears. Cool. And then we've come full circle. I don't think I'm going to be able to see what these people moved on to do. But at least he did Crimson Tears 2 years after Kakuto Chojin, so that's you know, he has an enduring legacy. Man, Crimson Tears is so good. Someone needs to make a modern, you know, like third-party PS2 in the near future.
Yeah.
Having the Polymega with the PS1 and Saturn has like totally been like an amazing experience. Like to have that for PS2 so I could replay Shadow Hearts and like HD upscaled a little bit would be like a life changer. And the aforementioned like Dark Cloud 2, Rogue Galaxy.
I think I read somewhere that I think some of their patents are expiring within the next few years. So we might actually start to see something like that at some point in the near future.
Yeah, it's totally possible. I believe it's 25 years for a patent for the BIOS and stuff. So We could be seeing that sooner rather than later. And I'm really hoping that the PC engine they did, that Analog did, is kind of a prelude to other CD or DVD-based systems from them. You know, I would love a PlayStation from them using the FPGA. FNAF using the Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, I love Analog, and I would love for them to make a PS1 and a PS2. God, that would be great. Onboard save data. The Polymeg is great, but because it's emulation-based, there's still some compatibility issues that make things less than ideal sometimes, especially for really obscure games. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Monster Seed, but it's a particular, like, guilty pleasure of mine. Like, it's a game I grew up playing. It's kind of horrendous, but I love it because back in the day, you were kind of limited to what monster collecting games you had. It was like Persona. It was like the first Persona in Pokemon, and that was kind of... Oh, and the Dragon Quest monsters. So, like, when Monster Seed came out on the PlayStation, I was like, oh, cool. Like, a Pokemon-like game I can play on the television.
Yeah.
And it just, like, that, like, the Polymega totally craps the bed if you try to play that game. Like, if you go to save, it, like, it freaks out. Also, it doesn't like Tail Concerto, which is a level of depression I can't even begin to describe because I freaking love Tail Concerto. That brings me down another rabbit hole. When are we going to get a physical copy of those games that take place in the Tail Concerto universe where you have to sacrifice orphans to power your tank?
Oh, yeah.
Ooga, Memories of the Battlefield, or whatever. I think there's 2 of them at this point. I've not played them because I've been holding out for a physical, but it's been years now. I don't know if that's even going to happen. That's a whole, like, beautiful representation of the dark furry rabbit hole we talked about years ago when we were playing...
That was Cave Story. Cave Story I coined Dark Fairy for.
Yeah, Cave Story, and then we saw it play out further in Galaxy Trails games and the Freedom Planet games.
Yes. I played all the way through Euphoria for the first time recently. Not the visual novel, before anyone asks, but Euphoria from Sunsoft.
Yeah, love those games.
That's got more than a touch of Dark Fairy about it as well.
Does it?
There's some fairly horrifying enemies in it.
Yeah, I love Euphoria. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. Have you played the new one?
I haven't. No.
So the new one, they did like a classic claymation aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like almost like the modern Yoshi games. It's still CG, but it looks like stop motion animation.
Yeah.
Like they purposely limited the frames of animation and made everything have a very physical texture. Yeah, that's what I was saying about Seiichi Ichi. He worked on a bunch of things. It's crazy. Like, he seems to actually have been like seminal in the creation of what we consider 3D fighting games. It's quite an interesting history. We all learned something new today.
Some love for Freedom Planet there. That's always good.
Oh yeah,
love
nothing
Freedom
but
Planet.
Have you played 2 yet?
I haven't. No, I'm still waiting for that physical.
Yeah, I'm up for physical on that too. That looks insane. I remember just getting like goosebumps when the trailer for 2 came out. I have an MP3 kicking around somewhere of like the level 1 music from like the beta version of 2.
Yeah.
It's not an exaggeration to say this. The soundtrack for the original Freedom Planet is one of my favorite game soundtracks of all time.
Oh, it is great.
I go to work and I put my noise canceling headphones on and I'll just have that on cycle like for like an 8-hour day. And the Trap Hideout theme hits and then I have to like use my standing desk because I gotta shake it. It's so good. It's so good. And the footage of 2 looks amazing. Like that panda lady character, whose name escapes me. Looks like she's got some really interesting mechanics, shaking things up, and Carol's still got the motorcycle. I need that in my life. Nira's the panda. Awesome. Yeah, she's got like an ice thing going on. I think she can do like X-Men, Iceman, like make little platforms and stuff. It's pretty cool. I think that's something I always respect. I always respected that about the first games. Like, the characters weren't just skins. Like, they all had like very different like mechanical quirks to them.
Yeah.
I hate when people like want to simplify Freedom Planet by calling it a Sonic clone, because like it has some Sonic elements, obviously, but it's so much its own thing.
It's a Saturn game that never existed.
Yeah, pretty much so. What do you call these kind of games? These just like single-screen arcade games.
Yeah, single-screen platformers or elimination platformers is quite a common phrase for them.
Yeah, okay. I really like these kind of games. Have you ever played Nightmare in the Dark for the Neo Geo?
No.
It's really cool.
I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, it's a game like this, but it had like you're like a spooky ghost guy with a lantern.
Yeah.
And you the way you attack, you like light the monsters on fire.
Oh, cool.
With like your lantern, like you throw little fireballs on them and you like burn them, and then you can like you can eliminate them from the screen once they've like burned enough. But it's basically like what if this, but it was just like Halloween edition. Like it's a really interesting game.
We're into credit feeding realm.
Oh yeah. It's the nature of the beast. Should check our library of modern beat 'em ups and see what we could do co-op online with on screen. I can't remember if Fight and Rage or the new Turtles game have.
I don't think Fight and Rage does. The Streets of Rage 4, of course.
Oh, it does. Yeah, we should play that. That's a ton of fun.
You can do the Mr. X's challenge mode co-op, can't you? As well, I think.
I think so. That's the one that has like the roguelite elements, right?
Yeah.
That's such a good time. You can have some really crazy builds in that mode, like Axel like shooting lightning out of his fists. And, like, what those guys are working on. They did the sequel to Frisbee game, Windjammers. They did the Windjammers too, but it just wasn't good. like it didn't. I don't know if it was something about like the 2D animation style of the graphics, but there was flying power tanks. Yeah, there was something about Windjammers 2 where like the animation frames really made it feel like a less precise game than the original. And it was one of those situations where it's like, why would I play this when I can play the original? Because the original is just more fun. I remember when I found out how like insanely popular like Windjammers had become as like a time killer game.
Yeah.
At Evo, like behind the scenes, and like I had like labored my entire life just thinking like me as a Neo Geo nerd was like the only person who knew about it, and I would never have a conversation with the person about Windjammers ever again. And then it turned out it was a whole thing, and there's a whole community of people who want to rage with me about Klaus Vessel. Windjammers is like my favorite game to bring to like parties where it's mostly not gonna be nerds and gamers.
Yeah.
Like, so, I don't know how anyone in your social circle may or may not roll, but like people I know will usually just have like their Switch on in the living room and have like Mario Kart or like Smash Brothers or something fired up if they're having a party at their house, and I'll just like sneak in and pop Windjammers in, and then it always ends up like hijacking the entire party because it's one of those like super easy to learn, super difficult to master games. So like everyone can like pick it up and have a good time with it.
Nope. Fire bad.
You are a snow brother. That should be self-explanatory.
Apparently I'm supposed to do something with fire. Oh no? Okay, fair enough.
Ignore it. Safely move on to the next screen. Those things kind of remind me of that, like, living pot man from Elden Ring. I don't know a lot about Elden Ring, but I do know there's a living pot man who's full of meat. Look, the little Elvis pompadours on those guys. This is...
Well, this is delightfully stupid.
Yeah, this is that special level of stupid that we spend weeks hunting for. That death animation is pretty gruesome. Considering...
About to say we're getting into a rhythm, and then I died.
Yeah, looks like the snow attack's a lot better choice for this one.
It does seem to be.
It's definitely like, I think that guy's like the indirect little lightning bolts that break off from his big lightning bolt. I think it does reduce damage compared to like the bigger bolt. Because like you've done more damage in like 30 seconds with this dude than you did in 2 continues worth with the other dude. See, the death animation is less gruesome when you're an actual snowbird. Because the melting is not...
Yes, not the melting of actual flesh. Oh, she mad.
Have you watched any footage of Metal Slug Tactics yet?
Yes, it's apparently very good.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Does it have the gruesome death animations of like
sure.
normal Metal Slug?
I don't know.
I just remember like as a young man playing. Oh yeah, Snow Brothers fails that challenge immediately at the character select screen. I've learned so many new things today. About Toaplan, Snow Brothers.
And in tradition of this type again, get showered in cake.
Let's go. What was that?
I think it was tickle torture. I'm not sure though.
That's fair. You know, when I extend one of the 3 tendrils from the top of my head, I usually use them to tickle people.
Oh, it's one of these.
I like those like underworld parrots.
Something like that. Yes, there we go.
This level reminds me of, did you ever play that roguelite I was telling you about, Rising Hell?
Yes. Yes. I think I played that back when it first came out.
God, I love that game. That's another one where it's like, the mechanical differences between each of the playable characters is so radical that they basically make it completely different games. Is it Rising Hell or Raising Hell? I think it's Rising Hell.
I think it's Rising Hell.
Yeah, it is Rising Hell. Chad, if you've never played Rising Hell, you need to play it. It's amazing.
That one had a pretty cool sort of metal soundtrack as well, if I remember rightly.
Yes, everything about that game is incredible.
Whoops.
Developer Tahoe Games.
Oh, that's cool, Octa. You should give it a go. I mean, I'm no expert, but it's a fun time to just play some games and have a chat with a few people. You'll have times when there's not very many people turn up, but you'll soon get the hang of talking to yourself.
I was gonna say, I do that I do that whether I'm on camera or not. I do like the thing when I'm playing games that like people do in like sketch comedy about horror movies, where I'm like, "Girl, don't go in there," and Or like, I'll just be like, that's clearly an evil overlord. Why are you going to the cafe with him? He's not going to give you advice that you want to follow. Like,
how do I don't know how to get up there. Oh, like that. Stop him, he's using a pattern.
oh my god. Got the big bad up there, piloting.
Oops. Oh, I thought they were dragging her down towards death, but they're not. It's not that harsh.
Well, my friend, the copious vibrating coming from my cell phone tells me that it is dinner time, and I promised my younger sister I would take her out for ramen, so I am going to do that.
Alrighty, well, good to spend some time with you, and we should definitely do this again sometime.
Yes, always a pleasure. We'll figure out something fun to do multiplayer.
Yeah, sounds good.
And, yeah.
Oh.
And then you can teach me how to do this so I can do it too.
Yes. The rest of you watching, we'll go to the end of this game and then we'll call it a day there as well. But yes, thank you everyone for joining and chatting. It's been a lot of fun this evening.
Yeah, take care everybody.
Yes, catch you later. Oh. He's breathing fire. There we go. And 1,000,000 points to win. Get some sort of horrifying end sequence now. It's got actual names in the credits. Quite rare for an arcade game. Thank you very much. I wasn't counting how many credits that took, and I don't want to know. But it was worth it to see the dancing rabbit and all the other silliness going on. That's a lot of fun. I can imagine this is absolute mayhem 4-player. There we go. Top scores. Right. Okay. I think I'm going to call that a night there. But thank you very much, everyone, for joining me on this journey of nonsense. Thank you for chatting. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do this semi-regularly now around the time we started today. So yes, presented by, and then it just didn't say anything. Yeah, I'm trying to do this semi-regularly, around about sort of 8 p.m. UK time most Saturdays. We started a little bit early today because Chris happened to be around a little bit earlier, and hopefully Chris will be around a little bit more frequently for us to do some multiplayer stuff that we can actually play together as well. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed today. I certainly have. And it just remains for me to say, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.